Hey, how's it going? It's Paul, Nerd Rage. I got a new helmet, and it left me wondering what to do with my old one. So I decided to paint it. What the heck? Um, can I do it? What's it going to be like? Why bother? But it was an old helmet. What am I going to do with the old helmet? So I figured I'd give it a shot, and I'm going to take you along. The object's to get all the shiny airs, knock all the shiny airs off your helmet. Um, this took hours. This really did. I didn't do it in one session. I would sit down, do some sanding, then get up, do whatever, eat dinner, come back, do more sanding. But um, a lot of sanding. So I finally get to the point where I knocked all the highlights off, whatever. Then I start putting some primer on it. I was using the Duplicolor primer and base coat, whatever, paint. So it's the primer included into the paint. It's good for plastics, which this helmet is polycarbonate. So that's what I was using. I had some minor run issues, but nothing amazing, nothing that wouldn't buff out, sand out, whatever. So it actually turns out that I was using Krylon, not Duplicolor. Regardless, I'm very pleased with the base coat, primer coat. Um, just minor runs, but nothing big. On the plastic back of the helmet, there was some peeling type stuff, but I was able to sand that out. Finally comes to what I wanted to do with the helmet, and I settled on the Punisher. I thought it would look pretty cool across the top. So online, I found a reverse image of it and cut it out and painstakingly cut it out. I did this with a razor blade, not an X-Acto knife. I hate myself for it, but it took hours. I didn't realize that I was going to make a pretty big mistake coming up. My mistake was masking the helmet up. Now, of course, we're going to have to mask this thing up, but I laid it on thick, and in some areas I had 4 and 5 coats, thinking that somehow this was going to make it easier to cut. No. I went ahead and I was just using some glue my kid had laying around, and I glued the stencil onto the masking. And from there, I once again busted out the razor blade. It was from a pack of the kind you shave your face with, and unfortunately it was single sided. So I painstakingly went over every little outline that I had drawn because I used a sharpie and imposed it onto the, as you can see on the onto the masking, and then from there I cut and cut and cut. I didn't capture any pictures of me actually peeling the masking off because I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work. Um, it worked out fine because here's the product after I had actually painted. I pulled it all off and then I painted. And once again, I didn't know how this was going to look until I got it off. And honestly, it looked a lot better than I expected. I was expecting to have to sand this whole thing down again and start from scratch. Then finally, one last element I wanted to do was the blood splatter. So I sat there with a plate and I put a bunch of red paint on it, and then I smacked the paint with a screwdriver, and it splattered. It splattered pretty good. There's some high velocity stuff on the side. It, it it's okay. I'm happy with it. I didn't want to go crazy and start throwing paint all over the thing and ruin all the other work I did. Finally, it comes to the clear coat. Now this is where my major mess up is. I know that I have to cure the clear coat. You gotta like set it up and spray it on the helmet and let it cure it. And I was using a duplicolor, and this one really is duplicolor. And you're supposed to let it cure for 8 to 10 days, and in a 60-degree Celsius environment. I don't know what that translates to. I'm American, but I decided to leave it outside, and I ran into some yellowing. It's hardening. It's hardening fine. It's just the yellowing is, and it doesn't look horrible. Unfortunately, with the design of the mask being a Punisher type thing with blood splatter all over it, it gives it an aged look. That's what I'm telling myself, anyways. Um, I had ordered some new foam padding from Resilience, and it's working out great. It's going to fit in there. I don't plan on wearing this a lot during games. Maybe during some pickups or something where I'm not going to be taking shots off the face. Um, Once you remove the padding on the inside of the helmet is no longer certified for Canada or the States or whatever. So technically you're not supposed to use it, but it feels pretty good. And as you can see, it looks okay. I'm really happy with it. However, I just ordered a paintbrush or not a airbrush, and I have another helmet, one that's in the garage that I used several years ago. So I'm going to be documenting more of that, the actual video. This I know was more a talking head, looking at pictures video, but just showing you can do it.